this video, we're checking out the iFlight GOcam here with the new GYROflow 0.30 beta that recently came out. And I'm going to give you a little rundown on how to get it working on this particular camera. So GYROflow, as you guys may or may know, is a video stabilizer program similar to the way ReelSteadyGO works with GoPro video files. And as you may or may not know, the GoPro video files have embedded gyro data that shows how the video is moving, and it shows the movements of the camera, and you can basically smooth out that video footage using the gyro data and get nice smooth footage using ReelSteadyGO. Now, as you know, GoPros are a lot more expensive than a lot of these other third-party cameras that you're seeing out there that GYROflow will work with. And so if you're looking for like the best results, for those of you guys are pixel peepers and just want the very, very best video, of course, you're going to get better video quality with a GoPro, and ReelSteadyGO. Obviously, you can spend the $400 some on a Hero 9 plus the $100 on ReelSteadyGO. But if you were looking for a less expensive alternative, this is what we're talking about in this video. So, the GoCam is about $200, I think, and obviously GYROflow is open source software. It's free to download. So, obviously, there's the cost difference there. But, at the end of the day, those are the guys that are going to say that the video quality is better on the GoPro. I can't say anything about that. Of course, GoPro video quality is much better. You're just going to have to, if you want that better video quality, you're just going to have to pay for it. Okay, now with that out of the way, a few things that you need to know about getting GYROflow working on this camera and a few other ones. Now, there's a large community of people on a Discord server that the developer has, I guess, put up. And if you have questions about other cameras, about how to use it with black box data, etc., any kind of problems you're having, that's probably a good resource to go to, because I'm sure you're going to have a lot of questions about other cameras that I have not tried yet. So I won't be able to give you any kind of an answer as like, well, does it work with XYZ camera? I don't really know. I've only tried it with this one here for the purposes of this video. I may be trying other cameras and other methods in the future, but this is the one that I got working most reliably. Now, the way this camera works is the gyro inside the camera. So the gyro moves with the camera lens. So the video that it's recording is moving with the gyro, and that data is synced up already. Now, if you want to use black box data, for example, so here's an example of a quad that I haven't reviewed yet. It's coming out soon. This has a black box recorder where you can record your gyro data on here, and then you can use that gyro data to export it to GYROflow along with the video file from a third-party camera like this one is the Firefly X, and try and sync up the data. Now, the problem with the gyro being separate from the camera, is that the camera, as you can see here, is soft mounted. So this little TPU mount here is great. It prevents jello from getting into the video footage and high frequency vibrations. But the gyro data or the gyro movements that are recorded here on this black box recorder on the flight controller don't match up with the movements of this camera, because this camera, as you can see, obviously the quad's not moving, but look, the camera's moving. So the video, the video footage it's collecting is going to have slight movements that won't match up with the gyro. And basically the gyro and the camera movements have to match up exactly. Otherwise you get basically a lot of jitter and sort of weird results in the stabilized video footage. So I actually, this is something that I tried to work on, and I gave up because basically I figured out, oh, well, there must be movements that are going on here that the gyro is not recording because it can't, because the gyro is not moving here in this case. The little camera is bouncing around a little bit, but the gyro is not moving. So if you're thinking that you want to use black box recorders, you have to hard mount your camera so that the movements of the video are exactly the same as the gyro recorded data in the black box. But the downside of that is if you have any kind of vibrations in your frame, props, motors, that will get translated as jello into your video footage. So something to keep in mind. I know a lot of you guys are going to ask me about black box, and which you can do with a whole bunch of different cameras. There are other workarounds if you want to add a separate gyro to the camera itself. You can do that. Now I know that this camera has a gyro, but does not record the data gyro data is a separate file, which is what GYROflow needs, which is what the iFlight camera does. So this is basically based off of the RunCam 5 Orange. So if you go and get the latest firmware update for the RunCam 5 Orange, you can do, it will actually record the gyro data as a CSV file like this camera as well. So if you already have that camera, you can use this video to basically get the same results. But a couple more things that you do need to keep in mind is that you need to soft mount this camera. So the gyro on these cameras is quite sensitive to any kind of high frequency vibrations. So when I was previously testing this camera on a different quad where it was hard mounted, a lot of vibrations were getting into this gyro, and even with noise filtering, it wasn't giving good results. So I actually created a special TPU mount here for this camera so that it, has that dampening. Basically, none of that vibration is going to come through here, and this thing does have a little bit of give, a little bit of play. But that's okay because the gyro is on the camera itself, so any movements in this camera are going to be reflected in the gyro, and also in the video footage it'll match up. So if you do go this method, you will need to have some sort of a special mount that's going to be vibration dampening. Otherwise, any kind of high frequency vibrations that come from the props and the motors that go into the frame will go into the camera, and either you'll get jello or you'll get basically noise in your gyro data, and it'll mess up your stabilized video footage. Okay, so now with all that out of the way, go ahead and go to the computer now, and I'm going to show you a quick rundown on how to get your video files stabilized with GYROflow. It's not comprehensive. So if you're looking for a comprehensive video, the developer has already made one. It's about 35 minutes long, I believe. And actually, I didn't even watch the whole thing. So if you need more help, I suggest watching that full video. There's a lot more details in that one than in this video. I figured there's no need for me to reinvent the wheel and basically regurgitate what he said. I'm just going to link his video in the video description. But if you want a quicker guide, I'm just going to show you exactly the steps I did to get the results that you saw at the beginning of the video. So hopefully that's going to be enough to help you. If not, I encourage you to watch the other video, the longer video with more information, as well as go to the website and also the Discord server. All that stuff will be linked in the video description. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is go to the link in the description for the download page. You're going to need to grab a bunch of files here. The first is the GYROflow Windows executable. And I'm using this on a 64-bit Windows system. Go ahead and download that to a folder somewhere. I'm putting everything into the GYROflow folder on my desktop. Next, you want to grab the camera presets. Go ahead and download that to the same folder as well. You're going to need these if you're going to be using a variety of different cameras. Alright, so next we need to grab the FFmpeg executable. This is a program that is needed by GYROflow to do the video rendering. And you want to get the get full version. I guess there's a bunch of different variants here, so go down and download this version here and save that to your GYROflow folder as well. Okay, so at this point you should have these 3 files in your folder. Go ahead and open up the camera presets, and I'm going to extract out that whole folder of camera preset files, and you'll see here a bunch of different presets. Different cameras are currently available, and they're probably going to add a bunch more later. Next, you want to grab the FFmpeg executable out of that archive. It's in the bin folder, and I'm just grabbing the executable only and putting it in the same folder as the GYROflow executable. That's the only file you need. And that's it. Go ahead and run it. Command line window, actually, sorry, here. You have to hit more info and hit run anyway. It thinks it's a virus, but it's not. A command prompt window will open up here, and you want to leave that one open. It'll give you a lot of statistics and data as it's processing your video files, and this extra window shows up here for the actual application. And that's pretty much it. Okay, this is an example of the iFlight GOcam. I'm going to put the video file and the gyro CSV file with the gyro data in the same folder as the GYROflow executable. Go ahead and run the program and open up all the windows here. And we're going to open up that video file. Go ahead and select that video file, and it should also automatically select the gyro data file. Then we're going to find the lens preset for this camera. It's in the RunCam folder, and it's under RunCam iFlight. And there's two versions. There's one for the 1440p video, which is the one I'm using, and the 4K video. It should automatically select RunCam CSV log as the log type and log variant. I'm putting in a input low pass filter of 50 Hz as recommended by the developer. This little plot here is I'm not always sure if it's very useful or not. I just wanted to show you what it is. I don't know what it means. I'm going to go to the sync tab here and attempt an auto sync. And you'll see a bunch of stuff going on here in the background. On the command line window is attempting to sync all the movements of the video file with the movements in the gyro file. So a lot of little math and calculations are going on in the background. Okay, so at the end of that processing, you should get this bunch of graphs in here, and the main one you want to see here is on figure 3, and you need to see these dots, these sync points, line up very closely to that straight line there. That means that things are probably going to be working out pretty well. You can go ahead and get those out of the way. Those aren't really that important. As long as you see that the dots are lining up the line, you should be good to go. Here you can adjust your smoothness settings if you want. I'm going to adjust the output resolution to 2.7K from the 1440p video. And I'm adjusting my start and stop times here. Basically, there's some dead stuff at the beginning, at the end of the video that I don't want, so I'm going to get rid of that. Basically trim that out. Under the video encoder, unless you have a NVIDIA card, leave this alone. I have an NVIDIA RTX 2080 Ti, so I'm using the NVIDIA codec. And then I'm increasing my bitrate to something higher, just because I'm going to be processing the video again later. Higher doesn't really hurt much, just makes the video bigger, or the video file bigger. And go ahead and give it a name, and it will go ahead and start saving and processing your file. And after I have some amount of time here, you will get a nice, smooth, stabilized video file that looks pretty similar to what you get from ReelSteadyGO. So that's pretty much it in terms of getting this going. Now on the video codec, or the video encoder that I'm using, I had to upgrade my NVIDIA drivers to the most recent version, because I guess this version of FFmpeg does have the NVIDIA codec built into it, but needs the newest version of the NVIDIA driver. Also, the processing time is significantly faster if you have an NVIDIA card versus just using your CPU. So if you want this to go faster, I recommend, and you have the NVIDIA video card and latest video drivers, go ahead and select the NVIDIA codec. It'll process your file much faster. Okay, that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully this was very useful for you. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.